What is good, YouTube? It's your boy, Slime Santana, aka AJ Talk Sports. And we're back at it again live with another Best Ball Mania 7 draft. Coming at you guys today, June 11th from the 105. And today, guys, we're going to be talking, and the focal point of this video is going to be understanding that the prophecy is staying present in the process. And so the prophecy will be fulfilled as we stay present in the process. And so in this present moment, guys, I'm taking Ashton Jeanty at pick 105, player that I am most confident in from a running back position this year in fantasy football as being a league winner. The running back that I have at 101 in all formats this year, Ashton Jeanty. Welcome to the team. And guys, as I mentioned, the prophecy will be fulfilled and has been fulfilled by staying present in the process. And Ashton Jeanty is part of that mission and vision, as he, to me, guys, is the greatest running back prospect to enter the NFL since Barry Sanders. All right? And you might say, that's crazy. Why would you, what makes you believe that? There's been a lot of great running back prospects to come out over the last 40 years. I mean, Adrian Peterson, Saquon Barkley, Jeremiah Love this past year. I mean, who else, guys? Those are just the top of my, off the top of my head. Bijan Robinson, to name another one. But guys, none of them, in my opinion, compare to Ashton Jeanty. What makes Ashton Jeanty so special, so different, is his unique, rare ability and unique size. And really, I want to hone in on this size, guys. 5'8", 211 at the combine. He's probably more like 215 now. And that means he has over a 90th percentile BMI, which is a critical component and input when evaluating elite running back prospects and their ceilings, guys, because the higher the BMI, the higher workload that they can sustain in the NFL, because their bodies are more compact and are able to absorb and deliver more punishment and contact. And so you combine Ashton Jeanty's elite size with his elite speed, being able to run a 4.47 at that BMI, which is incredible, to be quite honest. And not only that, guys, but his elite ability as a receiver, because Ashton Jeanty, in his sophomore year of college, put up one of the most efficient and explosive receiving seasons I've ever seen at the running back position, with 1,300 yards on the ground, but 43 receptions for 570 yards for an average of 13 yards per reception, guys, which is unbelievable at age 19, having a 13.4% target share. That's what wide receivers do, guys. Elite wide receivers do. And so I'm very happy to see that from Jeanty's profile. And then we know, guys, in his junior year, he had quite literally the greatest rushing season we've ever seen. So to me, Jeanty is just amazing. And we're back on the clock, guys. And wow, we have a number of different options here at pick 20. But I'm going to go with none other than Brock Bowers on this team, guys. I see Kenneth Walker being the following ADP value, but to me, Brock Bowers is simply the pick here without question. I understand that Kenneth Walker is a massive ADP value, but in my humble opinion, guys, no one can compare to the greatest tight end of all time. And there's no one that I am more confident in, other than Ashton Jeanty being the skeleton key of fantasy football this year, than none other than Brock Bowers, the Lisan al-Gaib. Which means, if you haven't seen Dune, guys, the Lisan al-Gaib means the one from the outer world who will deliver us to the promised land. And that is who Brock Bowers is, and that is who Brock Bowers was. And Brock Bowers will deliver us all to the promised land, and because he is simply the Lisan al-Gaib, guys. There's no other words that I need to say. But I mean, from a prospect profile, guys, the greatest tight end prospect to ever come into the NFL. As an 18-year-old in the SEC on a national championship team, put up 900 yards and 13 touchdowns, the greatest freshman season we've ever seen in college football history at the tight end position. And then he comes into the NFL, guys, as a rookie and puts up 1,200 yards on 150 targets with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and has the greatest tight end season we've ever seen as a rookie, and the greatest rookie receiving season we've ever seen, to be quite honest. And so we get Bowers on this team. We're back on the clock. And to me, it's quite obvious who we're going to take here, guys. We're going to go ahead and take we got Rashee Rice there last second, guys. We got Rashee Rice there last second. It looks like Luther Burden went off on the clock at pick 26, and Jeremiah Love fell all the way to pick 28 to the Kenneth Walker drafter. So this guy starts Puka Nacua, Jeremiah Love, and Kenneth Walker. That's probably the first time that start's ever been accomplished in fantasy football. So shout out to our guy there for that crazy start. But we get a crazy start ourselves and do go Jeanty, Rashee Rice, and Brock Bowers for an unbelievable, correlation and start on this team, guys. And I love it. So yeah, we see a crazy turn there, pulling back up the board. We see a, Ken Walker fall to 21 because we take Brock Bowers, which is, I think, totally fine. But we see Luther Burden get pulled up here to the 3-2, and Jeremiah Love falling all the way to pick 28. So our friend gets the Jacqueline 12, gets a crazy start going Puka, Ken Walker, Jeremiah Love. So shout out to our dog there. I'm getting Rashee Rice at pick 29. I'm buying the dip on Rashee Rice. I think just the absolute mistake that he's, at these prices. I'm very high on the Chiefs offense this year. I think the Chiefs are set to have a massive season and the best offensive season they've had in Rashee Rice's career. I mean, since Rashee Rice has been there, guys, the Chiefs have been honestly a bad offense. And now stepping into, being fully healthy, come the fall, Rashee Rice is stepping into the best offensive environment of his career with Eric Bieniemy. First time Eric Bieniemy's been the coach there. And I think we're going to see 120, 140 target season for Rashee Rice, potentially 100 receptions and potentially, 1,400 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, guys, because last year Rashee Rice was on, a crazy pace, had 18.5 fantasy points per game in just 8 games and that's with, Mahomes being injured, guys. So we're back on the clock here. This board is ripping. Colston Loveland to me is just a no-brainer home run smash pick here at these prices. And so we do a very fun start. Jeanty, Rashee, and Loveland on this team. And we'll allow this board to come back to us here, guys. We do take Loveland as our second tight end, ahead of Cam, ahead of Terry, ahead of Jaylen Waddle. Pretty straightforward. And now our friend Jack Lynn has a interesting selection to make for himself. And he goes Terry, so respects to him. But we go Colston Loveland, guys, a player who I believe is set to take one of the biggest leaps in the entire NFL, especially at the tight end position. And, most comparable to Trey McBride. I think Loveland is a much better athlete and prospect than Trey McBride, much better talents, more fluid, more explosive, bigger and faster. And we saw what Loveland did, guys, as a rookie in the NFL in just a few games. A few games meaning fully healthy and onboarded into the Bears offense, put up 700 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. And I expect him to take a massive leap in his development in year 2. And all reports out this offseason that he is, that mold, that guy, and that alpha of the Chicago Bears. And, luckily enough, guys, we're able to get Jaylen Waddle back on this team here at pick 53. Just thinking, guys. I think Waddle has to be the pick here at 53. I love Travion. Would have been great at RB2, but Rashee Waddle gives us 2 receivers, so I do believe both have wide receiver 1 capabilities. And have proven it, to be honest, in their career, obviously, with what Rashee Rice has done in his career and what Waddle has done in his career, to be honest, because Jaylen Waddle, in my opinion, guys, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, was obviously brought into the Denver Broncos to be their, revamp and revitalize their entire offense and elevate their offense to a different stratosphere. And Jaylen Waddle is a very unique prospect in the sense that he can win at all quadrants of the football field, be it underneath, intermediate, and down the field, guys. And he's proven that in his NFL career and his college career, coming into the NFL and actually, to be honest, guys, massively peaking from a target perspective with 140 targets and 104 receptions as a rookie, on a low ADOT, guys. Only, less than 10 yards per reception. And then just the following year, first year Mike McDaniels gets on the team, what goes on, guys? 1,350 yards on 18 yards per reception, and he absolutely airs it out and still finishes with 15 points a game, guys, at receiver, just in a completely different role, which is just, based on the receptions being so different. But this year, guys, entering 2026, I can see Jaylen Waddle, regaining that rookie year form with 140 targets now that there's no Tyreek Hill on his team. He actually has a respectable quarterback in Bo Nix and another elite offensive mind in Sean Payton. I think 140 targets is very reasonable for Jaylen Waddle. And with the efficiency of Bo Nix and Sean Payton's offenses, for that, specifically that wide receiver one being schemed up. I mean, you guys remember the days of Michael Thomas having like an 85% catch rate with Drew Brees. Obviously, Bo Nix is not Drew Brees, but I believe that Waddle is going to be deployed in prime ways to utilize his speed and explosiveness in space. And I think the whole Broncos passing game is going to be designed around Waddle. And so with 140 targets, and if he can maintain this efficiency, guys, of 14 yards per reception, which he's kind of been averaging the last 3 years, I mean, we could see a 1,500-yard season with 10 touchdowns for Jaylen Waddle and be a wide receiver one like he was to start his career. So I love that ability for him. And guys, we're back on the clock here at pick 68. Parker Washington goes the pick right before us. So to me, Caleb Williams is the no-brainer pick to stack up with Colston Loveland at this ADP. No other players to me jump out at these prices. And so very happy to get Caleb stacked up on this team. And our friend Jacqueline goes and gets the Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin stack. So he has a very fun team. Puka, Devontae Adams. Wow, we see QJ get pulled up here with the Luther Burden drafter. So this guy's definitely a slappy. You got Bashal Tootin, 10 picks at ADP. Luther Burden, 15 picks ahead of ADP. Quentin Johnston, 16 picks ahead of ADP. This guy knows ball. SVR knows ball, so shout out to him. We're back on the clock here at pick 77. We have a very fun build. Caleb with Loveland and Jeanty and Bowers and Rashee and Waddle. We have tons of options. We're going to be back on the clock here at pick 77, guys. There's a number of different things we can do. Wide receiver makes the most sense here for me, in my humble opinion. We see Justin Herbert go to our friend SVR ahead of AP. So he flips the board and goes QJ, Justin Herbert early. And to me, at pick 77, guys, we can do a number of different things. I think to me, Jayden Reed is the go-to guy here for the Green Bay Packers. I think he's going to be the Packers' clear top target earner this year. A player that I think can have a massive breakout year. Getting that extension. A couple picks early for him. I know there's a falling ADP value in Mekhi Lemon, but I don't see any reason why Mekhi Lemon should be going over Jayden Reed. Alec Pierce obviously should not be going over Jayden Reed. Everyone knows that. DK Metcalf should not be going over Jayden Reed. So Jayden Reed there, to me, is the simple pick that makes perfect sense for this team, and he's a nice bring back for us in week 16 with Caleb and Loveland. So we'll go ahead and take Jayden Reed there. This is a very interesting board, guys, because we've seen a lot of different things happen. And so Jayden Reed profiles to me, guys, as a guy who we can see have a massive breakout. Most comparable to Stephon Diggs, 5'11", 191, respectable size, dynamic, broke out at age 18, which signals high upside for receivers. And what does he do, guys? I mean, to start his career, let's see, guys, where are these stats? To start his career, comes in the NFL as a rookie, posts 800 yards with 8 receiving touchdowns and multiple rushing touchdowns. Second year, improves on those stats and actually has 15 and a half yards per catch, which is, you think about Jayden Reed being a slot guy, that's ridiculous. 15 and a half yards per catch is amazing and really impressive for him on 6 TDs. And then last year, guys, obviously broke his foot, broke his collarbone, and was just not the same, but still averaged 10 yards per catch, which is respectable. And Jayden Reed's a guy, guys, who I'm warming up to the fact that he could have just an unreal breakout that I don't think people are really realizing what this guy's ceiling is. But shout out to our friend Jacob Gibbs for this tweet. I brought this up in past videos, but I want to bring it up again. Jayden Reed is number 1 in the entire NFL over the last 2 years in these efficiency metrics, which are fantasy points per target and passer rating when targeted. And with the vacated targets of Green Bay with Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks out of the picture, that opens up, I don't even know off the top of my head, but probably 150 targets, guys, in this offense. And so we know, Christian Watson is a very one-dimensional player. He's not a good, high target earner. We know Matthew Golden is probably still a year away from developing into what he could be. And so to me, Jayden Reed, who just got the extension contract, has proven to be a solid-ass player. This is another crazy stat. Fantasy points per route run through the first 20 games of the career. Jayden Reed and Tyreek Hill are on the same tier. Absolutely insane. So we're back on the clock, guys, at pick 92. To me, Mahomes is the pick here. I mean, I think Mahomes is just simply the pick. We could push it if we want, but I don't see why we would push it. We already have Rashee Rice, so why not go Mahomes? And so we have a very fun start with Caleb, with Loveland, and Mahomes and Rashee Rice. that feels very, very nice to me. I must say that feels very, very nice to me. I mean, what needs to be said about Patrick Mahomes other than he's probably off to the greatest start we've ever seen at quarterback in not only fantasy football history, but I mean NFL history. I don't think we really understand or remember how good Mahomes is. And I think Matt Nagy is just such a horrible offensive mind, and Mahomes has had such little talent at the wide receiver position and running back position his whole career that we haven't seen the best of him in so long, guys. But I mean, essentially the first 6 years of his career, guys, look at this. Quarterback 1 with 26 points in basically his first year ever starting. The next year has a bit of a drop off, but still 20 points, QB6. Next year, 25 points, number 2 overall. 25 points, number 2 overall. And this past year, guys, he still finished number 2 in the NFL in fantasy points per game, and the Chiefs' offense was ass. So imagine this year with the explosiveness that Kenneth Walker is going to bring. Rashee Rice fully healthy for the first, and being able to play for a full season for the first time in his career, guys, because I remember as a rookie, didn't even play until really the last month of the season. Second year, tore his ACL. Third year, suspended for half the year. And so, I look at that and I say, okay, the Chiefs offense can take a massive step forward. And that means to me, Xavier Worthy, welcome to the team. Let's get another receiver who has elite explosiveness on this team, correlates with this team perfectly. And we do start Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy on this team, guys, all at beautiful ADPs. We're not forcing anything on this team. We're just allowing it to come to us, and we're staying present in the process. And that is the prophecy, guys. Remember that. Never forget that. And we're starting with this anchor running back build with Ashton, Jeanty. Kyle Mendoza was a nice 10-pick ADP value, but to me, guys, Xavier Worthy has that league-winning potential at wide receiver. Essentially, Xavier Worthy is going to be, I don't know. We don't really even know what Xavier Worthy could be. To me, he profiles as like a Deshaun Jackson type. Now, 5'11", listed at 165, guys, but reports are this offseason that Xavier Worthy has put on 15 pounds. You can look at that as a positive, you can look at that as a negative, but it looks like that Worthy added 15 pounds to his frame where he was at 169 last year. So that means Xavier Worthy is coming in around 185 right now. 5'11", 185 is plenty big for a receiver. Definitely not going to be able to run a 4.2 at that size, but if you can run like a 4.3, guys, 4.35, obviously still plenty fast, especially with Mahomes. Xavier Worthy, we know, has very, very good ball skills and ball tracking ability. And what did he do, guys, as a rookie? We talk about college production, getting on the field early and producing. Freshman season at age 18 at UT puts up 1,000 yards on a 30% target share with 12 TDs. Next year, 760, 9 TDs. Final year, 1,000 yards with 5 TDs. And that was with other good receivers on that team, guys. Adonai Mitchell, to name one. Probably some Bijan was on that team, I believe. So, yeah, Xavier Worthy is, still a very, very fun, explosive player that, early in his career, guys, as a rookie, had an okay season, up and down. But as a rookie, 640 yards and 6 touchdowns is not bad, guys. It's not bad. 11 points per game, it's not bad. Year 2, last year, obviously tears his labrum game 1 and still plays through it. And then Mahomes tears his ACL and the season's over. So you can really chalk last year pretty much as a whole. And so I think we really don't know what Xavier Worthy is as a talent. And so to me, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice is the best wide receiving core that Mahomes has had in the last 4 years, with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice both fully healthy and onboarded. With Eric Bieniemy, guys, that's an offense that we've never seen, and Ken Walker in the backfield. This is an explosive offense that we have not yet seen. And so I like the upside of what this team can bring so far. We're back on the clock, and I'm going to go Jayden Higgins probably on this team at 116. Pittman is there. Let's just go Pittman for the ADP value, guys. It's a great ADP value on Pittman. We can't pass that up at 16. And it's definitely possible that Jayden Higgins can come back to us at 125. So all is well there. Michael Pittman Jr. at 12-pick ADP is a very, very nice gift, especially for this receiving core that we're building out. He is just a target hog every year of his career. Not sexy, not going to blow you away with his mind-bending athleticism, guys. But Pittman Jr. is just an NFL wide receiver, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are just an NFL team. Dwayne Bowe, great comparison, just a non-sexy, prototypical X receiver, the baseline, run-of-the-mill X receiver in the NFL. Can also play flanker, but 202 in the NFL draft. Comes in the NFL, guys. Has a respectable rookie year, 500 yards. I mean, that's worse than Xavier Worthy did, guys. The year after has a breakout year with 1,000 yards. And every year since his rookie year, guys, I mean, 120 plus targets. The last 2 years on the Colts, 111 targets. And that's with Anthony Richardson. That's with Matt Ryan. That's with Sam Allgeier. That's with just horrible quarterbacks, guys, that are not delivering him the ball in favorable places. And Aaron Rodgers could be washed, guys, but he's at least better than whatever the hell he's been playing with in his career. And so we're back on the clock here. To me, Jayden Higgins just is an absolute jam on this team. A player that I can see taking a massive leap in year 2. Very blessed and fortunate to get him past the ADP as well. And that's why, we go Pittman and Higgins at that turn, which is excellent. And so, I mean, Jayden Higgins, guys, that's a player that I want to get more and more on every single one of best ball teams. It's a player that, 6'4", 215, super explosive, the same exact draft pick actually as Michael Pittman Jr. That second overall pick in the second round. Comes in the NFL as a, very, very similar to my rookie year to Michael Pittman Jr., guys. 500 yards, actually has 6 TDs. Michael Pittman Jr. only had 1. And this is in a Houston Texans offense, guys, that was anemic last year, as we remember, with the Texans O-line being horrible, the Texans having really no run game to speak of with Nick Chubb, CJ Stroud just having a bad year overall, and now Jayden Higgins entering year 2. I believe CJ Stroud's going to have a bounce back year. The Texans have, don't have an elite offensive line, but should be, serviceable, I should say, serviceable. David Montgomery can give them something in the run game, some semblance of a run game, and so I look at Jayden Higgins, guys, and I look at the reports of Jayden Higgins this summer that he is all systems go. We see that Jayden Higgins is improving his athleticism, his speed, and his chemistry with Stroud, and he's been focusing heavily on upgrading his lateral quickness, which is critical because, as we saw, Jayden Higgins, that is his one, flaw, if you will, from an athletic perspective, being under average at agility, and so I think that's critical for him, especially being opposite of Nico Collins, guys. He's never going to have the number 1 cornerback on him. And with his explosiveness, CJ Stroud's accuracy down the field, assuming that the offensive line gives him time this year, maybe play action off the run game with David Montgomery, Jayden Higgins is going to have some massive spike weeks. And be, one of the guys you need at 120 with an elite production spike points at receiver. That's very, very hard to find. Most comparable to Allen Robinson, a player who we've talked about had an absolutely nuclear year 2 in the NFL, had this very similar season to Pittman Jr. and Higgins, and then puts up 1,400 yards, guys, and 14 touchdowns the following season. So feel very, very fortunate to get him here. We're back on the clock at pick 140. I mean, Stephon Diggs is there. That's an absolute gift for what he's going to be able to provide to this team at receiver. I mean, I'm soaking up the dip on, Stephon Diggs all day, every day. A player that, he could sign to the Chiefs. We'll see. But a player that I expect to skyrocket in ADP whenever he signs anywhere. I mean, look what happened with A.J. Brown, guys. A.J. Brown was, lived in the third round. He goes to the Patriots, which everyone knew, and now he's a mid-second round pick going ahead of Brock Bowers. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? I expect a very similar thing for Stephon Diggs, him going in this range, and then being like a 6th round pick, guys, when it's all said and done, because Stephon Diggs is just a damn good football player. No matter what you want to say about him off the field, he's just a damn good football player. And, we have a very interesting build, guys. We have Caleb Williams and Mahomes at quarterback with Jeanty, Bowers, and Loveland at tight end. And receiver is utterly stacked. So we're staying with this anchor running back Jeanty build, guys, which is very, very interesting, to be honest. And we'll see what's able to come back to us at 149. But I believe, as I mentioned to start this video off, that Jeanty is that skeleton key at running back. And he is someone that I'm happy to just, build my entire anchor running back strategy around. And this is, as extreme of anchor running back strategy as you're going to find. But Jeanty has that ability and upside to absolutely carry us, especially in the fantasy football playoffs and for the entire season. So I'm not even worried about that, guys, whatsoever. And I think it's honestly a way to play the game and a way to play the board that gives you an advantage because no one is, playing, extreme zero running back like this, guys. And so we're going to be back on the clock here at 149. Stroud is still there if we wanted to pair him up with Jayden Higgins. Jonah Coleman is there. Jalen Naylor is there. A bunch of different options. Tyler Allgeier is there. We're going to be here at running back. Keaton Mitchell would have been nice to this team as well. But at 149, guys, to me, Kenyon Sadiq goes. I love taking Sadiq. For me, Jonah Coleman might be the pick. I take a lot of Jonah Coleman, guys. I take a lot of Jonah Coleman because I'm always needing a running back here. But, I mean, he just makes the most sense. I mean, you could take Woody Marks, but I think Jonah Coleman is a much better football player in a much better situation. We already are betting on the Broncos offense with Jaylen Waddle. So I'm going to go ahead and allow Jonah Coleman to be the pick here as our second running back right around ADP. He fits in beautifully for this team as a player that, can give you that those 10 to 15 points that you need in the fantasy football playoffs at RB2. Considering how deep this receiving core is and explosive this receiving core is, considering how elite our tight end room is, going double elite tight end, we're going to be great at flex, guys, with either Bowers, putting up 20 points a game in our tight end spot, Loveland putting up 20 points a game in our flex spot, these receivers being able to fill out those 3 receiving spots, Jeanty obviously being our elite RB1, Mahomes and Caleb just beasting and feasting, leading us to this BBM7 chip. And Coleman just needs to, fill in our RB2 spot and give us some great production. And the Broncos have a great schedule in the fantasy football playoffs. And Jonah Coleman is one of the most underrated running back prospects that I can remember. Honestly, one of the most efficient running backs that we've seen in a long time. And shout out to Scott Barrett for this stat right here. Let's see if I can pull this up here, guys, in time. Scott Barrett had a really good, look at this here. Look at this, guys. As far as this year's rookie class, Jonah Coleman is number 2 in missed tackles forced per touch. So he's extremely elusive. He yards after contact, which means, obviously speaks for itself. How many yards are you getting after contact? So are you playing physical, playing through contact? Had the number 1 overall season in this rookie class, better than Jeremiah Love. Yards after catch per reception, which is a crazy stat, guys, because Jonah Coleman is 5'8", 220 pounds. So we're talking about a receiver. He was the number 1 and number 2. He had the number 1 and number 2 seasons, guys, in this rookie draft class at receiver and yards per route run. He finished as number 2. So as Scott Barrett mentioned, by all the advanced efficiency metrics, Jonah Coleman is like a discount Jeremiah Love. And Jonah Coleman, guys, we talked about BMI with Ashton Jeanty. A 97th percentile BMI for Jonah Coleman with an utterly girthy build. 5'8", 220, little girth ball out here. Profiles to me like a David Montgomery, Mark Ingram type for Sean Payton. He loves these guys. And Jonah Coleman, he already said to come out and said he's the best pass protector on this team. So he's going to be playing third down. He's going to be playing goal line. I absolutely love that, guys. And so we're back on the clock here. We could use a running back with Allgeier. Mendoza is also quite interesting. But to me, Allgeier at 164 is a great value, a great pick, especially for this running back core. It's obviously a hedge against Jeremiah Love, but it's also, a bet that Tyler Allgeier can easily get traded to another team should there be any injuries. I mean, Chris Rodriguez just had foot surgery, so who knows what's going to be up with him. I mean, if any team suffers a running back injury, they're going to call it the Cardinals for Tyler Allgeier, a guy who definitely wants to prove that he is an NFL caliber starting running back. And that's what he was trying to prove when he signed with the Cardinals. And then they, being the stupid organization that the Cardinals are, went ahead and took Jeremiah Love at number 3 when they have no reason to pick a running back because they're a horrible team. So I think Allgeier is going to get traded. And I think he was just a great pick at these prices at 164. So very, very thankful to get him. We're going to be back on the clock here at 173. We have 4 picks remaining on this team, guys. We have 3 running backs. We have Caleb and Mahomes, so I'm like, I don't even think we need another quarterback, but I do love the prospect of getting Fernando Mendoza at 173 because we do have Bowers and we do have Jeanty, who are both going to be, I think the top 2 receivers on the Raiders. I do believe Ashton Jeanty will be the second leading receiver on the Las Vegas Raiders. And so I don't ever feel the need to take a third quarterback, especially when we have Caleb and we have Mahomes, but I do believe that Mendoza works perfectly for this team. It's past ADP for him. There's no other players in this range where I'm like, okay, we have to get them. Aiyuk could be the only other one. You know what, guys? I am going to take Aiyuk actually on this team and push Mendoza around the turn. If Mendoza comes back to me at 188, we could definitely take him. But to me, Allgeier adds more upside to this team and is a player that I believe could be another skeleton key player that you must have to win BBM7, which we have done. Because Brandon Aiyuk, guys, is a wide receiver 1. From a talent perspective, he's a wide receiver 1. It has now been 2 seasons since Brandon Aiyuk tore his ACL in middle of the season in 2024. So he's had over a year and a half, 2 years to recover from this injury. Now we see him on Twitter saying the 49ers are talking a bunch of shit because they're about to get that belt. And I agree with Brandon Aiyuk, guys. The 49ers are a horribly run, buddy, private equity, corporate America type organization where they pick favorites. It's all about politics there. That's why Brandon Aiyuk never got along with them. We remember Brandon Aiyuk absolutely balled out as a rookie, guys. I mean, finished, top, 15 points a game as a rookie. And then he gets doghoused in year 2 for no reason at all. Not because of his talent, not because of his play on the field, guys, because Kyle Shanahan is a, moron, to be quite honest, when it comes to politics and whatnot. He's an elite offensive play designer, but a moron when it comes to picking favorites and whatnot. And so Brandon Aiyuk does nothing his second year. Third year, becomes that elite blocker that, Kyle Shanahan wanted, puts up 1,500 yards. And then, his last fully healthy season, guys, Brandon Aiyuk posts the most efficient 1,300-yard season in the history of the National Football League with 105 targets, averaged 18 yards per catch, and put up 1,300 yards, which is just utterly ridiculous. And now we look at Brandon Aiyuk, guys, confirmed to go to the Washington Commanders, just like A.J. Brown was confirmed to go to the Patriots. Aiyuk is confirmed to go to the Commanders. And we look at Jayden Daniels is better than any quarterback the 49ers have ever had. I mean, Brandon Aiyuk has played with Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, in 1 year of Brock Purdy. Now we get Jayden Daniels, who is by far and away the best quarterback. We see, no target competition at all on this Commanders team with just Terry McLaurin, who Brandon Aiyuk's a much better football player than Terry McLaurin. We all know that when he's healthy. And I look at that, and Brandon Aiyuk got 1,300 yards with freaking Christian McCaffrey on his team, George Kittle on his team, Deebo Samuel on his team. I mean, what is there to say about that, guys? And so we're back on the clock here at 188. Mendoza is still there. Sean Tucker is still there. I mean, I think we just go Emmett Johnson and continue to push Fernando Mendoza on this team. I don't really see the reason to take him because we need we need that fourth running back. Emmett Johnson correlates perfectly with Mahomes, Rashee, and Worthy. We obviously are betting all in on this Chiefs offense being, super explosive, super who you need. And so I'm going to keep pushing Mendoza. And if he falls back to me, great. If he doesn't, that's okay. We can afford it. We have Caleb's and Mahomes, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and take the players who I believe can give us that massive advantage. And Emmett Johnson is one of those players who I believe is one of the most slept-on players. And I don't understand at all why people are fading this rookie running back class, guys. This is a very serviceable rookie running back class. Emmett Johnson, most comparable to Kenny Gainwell. We just saw what Kenny Gainwell, when in the right offensive environment, can do. Obviously, Kenny Gainwell was a horrible fit with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is not a check-down running back. He was behind Saquon Barkley. He was behind DeAndre Swift. Kenny Gainwell is a great, damn good football player who broke out last year finally when he got to play with a check-down quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Emmett Johnson profile is just like Kenny Gainwell. And we know, guys, Mahomes is going to check the hell down out of the ball this year with coming off that torn ACL. His time to throw, guys, is going to be one of the fastest in the NFL. I promise you that. And so Emmett Johnson is going to get a bunch of dump-off targets. We know Kenneth Walker is not a very good receiving running back. Emmett Johnson, guys, last year in college, you want to say this rookie running back class sucks? This dude put up 1,800 yards, almost 1,900 yards from scrimmage at Nebraska. That's crazy. And so, guys, we're back on the clock. And I mean, what a blessing. What a blessing to say that we got Fernando Mendoza, 30 picks past ADP on this team at 197. I mean, we got to take him. We got to take him, and I'm so fortunate to take him on this team. And this team worked out beautifully. We got Caleb, Mahomes, and Mendoza, 30 picks past ADP. Fernando obviously correlated with Jeanty and Bowers. This is a beautiful, beautiful team, guys, and that's why we push quarterback, because we were thinking about taking Mendoza all the way, at pick 173. And we kept pushing him because we believed that, we could take that risk, and we were able to get Brandon Aiyuk, who could be an absolute league winner at wide receiver and being a receiver who should be, from a talent and situation perspective, literally be going in the third round in all fantasy football drafts, guys. Should literally be going in the third round as the Commanders' wide receiver 1 in this year with no target competition. His upside, he's going to I think Brandon Aiyuk has potential to be a literal wide receiver 1 this year. And Emmett Johnson, who perfectly correlates with this team, and as we just talked about, is going to be the Kenneth Gainwell of the Kansas City Chiefs, and a role that we saw Jerick McKinnon put up multiple 30-point games in this specific role, being that elite dynamic receiving threat out of the backfield, which we know Eric Bieniemy is an elite play call guys. And Eric Bieniemy, guys, the last time he was the coordinator, that was when they had Jerick McKinnon in that role. And that is why they went out and signed and picked up Emmett Johnson, because he is like some kind of next-gen hybrid of Jerick McKinnon / Kenneth Gainwell and that elite receiving threat out of the backfield, and presents just a different look where they don't know if you're going to run out of that formation or pass out of that formation if Emmett Johnson's on the field, guys. And so Emmett Johnson's a freaking dog, 100th percentile college dominator, 98th percentile college target share, just an absolute workhorse running back where I don't know why people are fading it. I think it was a insider trading that the Chiefs got him in the 5th round. We heard reports already come out that the Chiefs have been eyeing this guy since December, and for some reason no one wanted to take him into the 5th round. That to me signals that what's going on in the NFL these days, and this is a critical point, guys, that I want y'all to hear. I do believe that draft picks are now being hand-selected by players, and running backs specifically. I do believe these agents for these running backs are telling teams and calling teams saying, do not take my player. He will not report to you. He will not play for you. And I'll tell you why in just a second. We're back on the clock here in round 18, our last pick. We can do anything we want on this team, guys. And considering I feel great at running back, I'm going to go ahead and take one of my favorite receivers that's going to be, very underdrafted in fantasy football this year. And I'm going to take Zavion Thomas on this team as our wide receiver 9. And we do a very, very fun end to this team with Zavion Thomas, who correlates perfectly with this build, obviously as that Caleb Williams wide receiver, since we did not get Luther, because Luther got, pulled up 20 picks early, as we saw. And this is, quite honestly, guys, one of my favorite teams I've ever drafted in BBM 7, if not my favorite. This is what happens when you allow yourself to stay present in the process and allow the prophecy to unfold. And so to me, the prophecy, this is simply the prophecy right here with this beautiful 3-4-9-2 build, guys. A build that no one, I don't want to compare myself to anyone, guys, but I can feel confident in saying that, thinking from first principles, removing the fear of failure, allowing the board to come to you, and just staying present in the process and allowing the prophecy to unfold. This is what you can build, guys. And so this is the Best Ball Mania 7 team, guys. 2781. This is gonna sound 2781, guys. That number to me means so much. I've been seeing this number on license plates. I've been seeing it everywhere today in my life, and yesterday in my life. This draft is Best Ball Mania 7 draft 128. Guys, this is my 128th Best Ball draft in Best Ball Mania 7. We see another 2781. This is the BBM 7 championship, guys. I'm telling you guys that right now. And I'm just grateful and blessed to allow prophecy to unfold through staying present in the process as we did through this draft. And so just to recap this team, guys, to recap the Best Ball Mania 7 championship team, guys, we do Ashton, Jeanty, Brock Bowers with Rashee Rice at pick 29. We get Colston Loveland back to us at 44. Jaylen Waddle, Caleb Williams to stack up with Colston Loveland. We go Jayden Reed, Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy. So we do a double stack on the Chiefs wide receivers with Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice. We go Michael Pittman Jr. with a beautiful ADP value on Michael Pittman Jr., 12 picks past ADP. We got Jayden Higgins back on this team at 125, a breakout receiver that we could see having a massive year 2. Insane value on Stephon Diggs at pick 140, a player that should not be going in this range at all. And I do believe will settle in as a 6th, 7th round pick when he signs to a team, whatever team that might be. Jonah Coleman, who, as we talked about, guys, extremely unique build at 5'8", 220 with elite efficiency metrics across receiving metrics and rushing metrics. And I do believe Jonah Coleman will become the Broncos RB1 from a snap share perspective, guys, this year, and be the goal line back for the Broncos and the receiving back on third downs, which is a critical role in a Sean Payton offense. Obviously correlates as well with Jaylen Waddle. So I believe we got the RB1 for the Broncos and obviously the clear wide receiver 1 for the Broncos at very cheap prices. Tyler Allgeier, a player who I'm confident and we all are confident in saying is a damn good football player, had 1,000 yards as a rookie, as a 4th round pick, and then has got, pigeonholed behind Bijan Robinson for his entire career after that, and still found a way to get 8 touchdowns last year, guys. And so I do believe that Tyler Allgeier is going to find a way to get traded. and be put in a starting running back situation this year, and break out as he wanted to break out on the Cardinals. And he's probably going to be traded to a better offensive, 10 times better offensive environment than the Arizona Cardinals guys. And so we'll see which running back goes down, or which team wants to bring in another running back after evaluating their depth. But I do believe that team is going to be contending for the playoffs, and Allgeier is going to be on a playoff contender as their RB1, as their goal line back. It'd be an absolute smash at these prices. Brandon Aiyuk, we just talked about, guys. My opinion, the most underpriced wide receiver in all of fantasy football, and probably in Best Ball Mania, not history, because we remember Puka Nacua was undrafted, but like, if there's a Puka Nacua this year, guys, it's actually Brandon Aiyuk. That's what I'm going to say. If there's a Puka Nacua this year, guys, a guy who is going to be a wide receiver 1, but is going, either undrafted or in rounds 15 or later, it is Brandon Aiyuk. We know his talent. He's going to be in the best offensive situation of his entire career. Brandon Aiyuk is a league winner, in my personal opinion. Emmett Johnson, we just talked about the Kenneth Gainwell of the Kansas City Chiefs, a role that we saw Jerick McKinnon put up 30 points back-to-back games just a couple years ago when Eric Bieniemy was the OC. Guess who's the OC, guys? Eric Bieniemy. Guess who he picked in his first year at back in the offense? Emmett Johnson. And to go back to that point, guys, I want to make about running backs, being insider trading at running backs, guys. I look at what happened at running back this year. I look at Emmett Johnson finding his way to the Kansas City Chiefs, a player who the Kansas City Chiefs have come out and said they were looking at in December. And obviously what the Kansas City Chiefs wanted to do at running back, guys, they wanted to bring in 2 running backs to revamp their entire running back room. I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs and Emmett Johnson's agent had insider trading phone calls, behind closed doors. And Emmett Johnson's agent said, no one take this guy. We are only going to go to the Kansas City Chiefs. If you take us, we're not reporting, and we'd rather go on undrafted. I believe that confidently. And the reason I believe that is because his profile is exactly what the Chiefs needed, and he's way too talented to be going in the 5th round. Same thing goes for Jonah Coleman. We all knew the Broncos were going to be looking for a goal line running back who also is a great pass down back, and there's no reason Jonah Coleman's profile should be going in the 4th round, guys. Jonah Coleman was, only had 1 visit, and it was to the Denver Broncos, guys, in his pre-draft process. That pick was telegrammed from day 1. We see Adam Randall. Out of all the places Adam Randall could go, he goes to sit behind Derrick Henry at, this year. Being the perfect, protege for Derrick Henry, being 6'3", runs a 4.5. And we saw that pick be hand-selected by the Ravens owner, who's never made a pick before. Something is definitely up with that. And these are the trends that you want to follow, guys. And these are the trends that you want to follow. And this is why when everyone is fading rookie running backs this year, I am buying all of them. I am buying all of them because I believe they're all actually about to have massive roles in these teams, plans. And these teams have had these guys in their plans since freaking last year. And they're great talents. They were just not selected by other teams and not drafted highly because their agents told other teams, we're not going to you guys. And that means a lot to me, guys. And that's what I wanted to say on this video, because I just came to that conclusion in my mind, and I wanted to share it with y'all here first. We could have taken Adam Randall here at 212, another rookie running back, but Zavion Thomas, we round this team out, guys, to finish this team. We go Fernando Mendoza at 197, which is just an absurd value. I do believe Fernando Mendoza is this year's Matthew Stafford, meaning that like the cheapest quarterback you can get that has league-winning upside. I do believe Fernando Mendoza has league-winning upside this year. He is actually a rushing threat. I do believe he is like along the lines of a Justin Herbert, a Trevor Lawrence type rusher, where they can scramble for 2 touchdowns in a game, with no problem. We saw Fernando Mendoza in the national championship had the game-winning rushing touchdown, and now he gets the 2 best weapons in the National Football League. Ashton, Jeanty, and Brock Bowers, the best running back in the NFL, the best tight end in the NFL, with Clint Kubiak and Tyler Linderbaum, that Raiders O-line. Raiders are going to be an absolute smash, all in on the Raiders, and to get the starting quarterback for them, who's the number 1 overall pick. I just got the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft at pick 197, guys. Absolute gift that I'm fortunate and blessed to get, guys. And with the last pick, another player that I think about, and I think about Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears offense, guys. And I think about Ben Johnson being the greatest offensive talent evaluator that I've seen come into the NFL in the last decade. Goes to the Detroit Lions, starts off as like an assistant, works his way up to OC. Detroit Lions have been on a elite offensive pace ever since he stepped foot in that building. He goes to the Chicago Bears, guys. Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears were an absolute dumpster fire as a rookie, in his rookie season. He goes in there, rebuilds the entire O-line, hand selects Colston, Loveland, and Luther Burden, two, damn near, elite generational type prospects at amazing amazing values. Caleb Williams and then make the playoffs and win a playoff. I believe they won a playoff game, guys. Yeah. And then now entering year 2 of his system, he hand selects Zavion Thomas in the 3rd round when, why do they need a receiver, guys? I mean, 2 years ago, they drafted Rome Odunze in the top 10. Last year, they drafted Colston Loveland in the top 10, and then Luther Burden with the 1st pick in the 2nd round. And now you're telling me they want to draft another receiver in the 3rd round? So what makes Zavion Thomas so enticing that they want to select him? Well, you look at Zavion Thomas and you say, okay, this guy, first of all, just looks like explosive. He looks like an alien, to be honest. That's not no offense to you, Zavion. You're a dog. But 5'10", 190, and he runs a 4.28. Guys, you know how crazy it is to run a 4.2 at 190? I mean, Xavier Worthy ran a 4.2, but he was 160 when he ran that. To run it at 190 is ridiculous. And then you look at Zavion Thomas, guys, was an elite, receiving, special teams player as well, with 700 yards and multiple return touchdowns in his time at LSU. Put up, 41 receptions at LSU as well, which is respectable. Most comparable to Curtis Samuel, who we all knew was an extremely dynamic player, used as a rusher, a returner, and a receiver. And unfortunately, it was just with Cam Newton in a horrible Panthers offense, when he started his career, guys. Cam Newton is not the type of player you want for Curtis Samuel type archetype, but Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson is. And so we talked about BMI, guys, many times throughout this video. 5'10", 190 is it's probably 50th percentile BMI, maybe a little bit lower, but to be able to run a 4.2 with that ability, and we see what Zavion Thomas said. Zavion Thomas is going to be playing running back this year, guys. Like we said, most comparable to Curtis Samuel. So that means he's going to get rushing ability and, schemed, screens and whatnot. So we could be looking at a Deebo Samuel, Curtis Samuel type player on the Chicago Bears that you're able to get for free in round 18. Ben Johnson said that he's making plays every single day. He's going to be a big weapon for us this year. Ben Johnson doesn't come out and say that, guys. I mean, Caleb Williams has already said today, when he's out there making plays, when he got the ball in his hands, he's special. He's dynamic. Oh, Zavion Thomas says he feels natural at running back, and he can run between the tackles. We're seeing, very, very unique possibilities with Zavion Thomas, guys, and just look at him. He just looks like he's going to be elite and explosive. I don't know what to say besides that, guys. It's just the sense I'm getting. And Zavion Thomas to me is one of those skeleton cut receivers that you could take in round 18 that's going to, spike for 20 points in any given week. On this Bears offense, perfectly correlated with Caleb Williams and Loveland. I mean, Zavion Thomas has the ability to score as a rusher. He's the most explosive rusher they have. Definitely more explosive than Swift at this point in his career, and definitely more explosive than the Nun guy. He's 5'10", 190, guys. He can handle a rushing workload just like Deebo did. Receiver, he's going to be the starting slot receiver, guys, from day one. We got Luther Burden at Z. We got Rome at the X. Loveland at the tight end. That slot is wide open, guys. Zavion Thomas with his explosiveness in the slot. So you're telling me you're going to get the starting slot receiver for what could be the highest scoring offense in the NFL. The slot receiver who we know is going to get schemed rushing attempts, schemed screens, and going to be the punt returner for the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams year 2 offense. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. 20 points in a fantasy football playoff week is very, very possible and likely for Zavion Thomas, in my humble opinion. And everything is aligning for him in June. So that's very, very bullish signals for him. And a player that's going to be, undrafted in most PBMs up to this point, and a player that I'm trying to scoop up as much as possible in all my Caleb Williams teams, guys. So we finished this team out, as we talked about, the Best Ball Mania 7 championship team with Caleb Williams double stacked with Zavion Thomas and Colston Loveland, Fernando Mendoza double stacked with Ashton, Jeanty, and Brock Bowers, Patrick Mahomes triple stacked with Emmett Johnson, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy, Jonah Coleman and Jaylen Waddle, the Broncos RB1 and wide receiver 1. Tyler Allgeier, who's going to get traded and break out. Jayden Reed, just a damn good pick at pick 70. It's going to have a massive breakout year, I do believe. Pittman Jr., just a damn good pick at 116. 120 targets every year of his career. Jayden Higgins, a damn good pick at 125, a player that I can see having that year 2 Allen Robinson type breakout or CJ Stroud in this Texans offense. Stephon Diggs, just an absurd value at 140, who we know is going to be like a 7th round pick any day now, wherever he signs. And let him sign to the Chiefs, guys. Let him sign to the Chiefs. He's going in the freaking 5th round, I promise you. And then we just got quadruple stacked with the Chiefs and all 3 of their starting receivers, guys, with Diggs, Worthy, and Rashee Rice. Brandon Aiyuk, who I've already said is this year's Puka Nacua, that receiver that's going in round 15 or later that can produce as a top 10 receiver in fantasy football. That is Brandon Aiyuk. He's talking that shit on IG right now. I'm buying it all because I believe in Brandon Aiyuk and I always have. And then we talked about Zavion Thomas, guys. That freak athlete, 4'2" at 190, going to be deployed as a running back, receiver, and kick returner for the Chicago Bears offense. The starting slot receiver for the Chicago Bears, already getting praised tremendously. So we go double elite tight end. I believe an absurdly elite receiving room, an extremely deep receiving room. I believe an extremely strong running back room, and especially a running back room that's going to be peaking in the critical fantasy football playoffs once Jonah Coleman and Emmett Johnson are fully ramped up and integrated into the offense, and Tyler Allgeier has been traded to his next team. And then triple elite quarterback. I mean, certainly double elite quarterback, and I do believe Fernando Mendoza is going to have a massive breakout year, guys, because how can we not see this coming, guys? How can we not see this coming? The number 1 overall pick is going at pick 197, and he has the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, has the best running back in the NFL and the best tight end in the NFL, and the offensive play caller who just took Sam Darnold to a freaking Super Bowl, and the Raiders just brought in the best center in the NFL to solidify their offensive line. Absurd value. And so this is the team, guys, at 3-4-9-2 build has taken down Best Ball Mania 7. Remember, I'm going to leave y'all with this. The prophecy will unfold when you stay present in the process. Thank y'all.